All right, guys. You guys voted for Ethan is Online, a commentary paradox, which will be a nice, fun little video since, Lex just came out and further diminished her, whatever remaining dregs of her, is that the right word? I don't know. Credibility. So this will be a nice, fun one. This is her boyfriend, by the way. Okay. Or partner, we'll say. I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know that. Sometimes it's hard to tell nowadays. So I'm just trying to be a nice guy. Anyway, let's get this party started. It's from Gamma. Ethan is Online, a commentary paradox. Let's go.
Someone that I've been keeping tabs on for quite some time now, who I firmly believe is a detriment to his own reputation and the reputation of others, has been a little-known creator by the name of Ethan is Online.
I feel like he's pretty well known. Doesn't he have like 300K on his channel? Like his main channel?
What first made me really start paying attention to this person and their catalog of garbage ideas and opinions was the whole Super Mega situation of last year.
Yeah, understandable. That was a pretty wild situation. I kind of feel bad for Super Mega based on what's going on. If you don't know what happened, you could look up Papa Guts Super Mega, and you could just look at that.
To give a brief summary of this series of events, it was essentially another allegation case where a former member of Super Mega, a gaming media channel, came out against another member, which led to a cancellation campaign. Lex Updog released a video where she presents grievances she had in regards to the members of the Super Mega channel. While telling her story, she described her experience.
While she's telling her story, she basically verifiably lied constantly. It was actually wild.
As traumatizing and smeared members of Super Mega in an extremely exaggerated and distorted display. Out of personal vitriol, not only did she smear Super Mega...
I'm pretty sure that her boyfriend, Ethan, put her up to it. He's a little bit of a drama shark, we'll say. But hey, they're dating each other, so... do your thing.
But also accused a member, Dawn, of sexual assault. It was clear there was a bias in regards to her overall separation from Dawn and Super Mega, biases that were spread within her personal circle of quote-unquote friends, and by that I mean one particular example in this case, Nick is not green. Nick decided to cover the...
Yep, that was a rough one, man. He really shredded through his credibility on that one. I mean, he apologized. I think the apology was genuine, to be honest with you. So, good for him. But, yeah, the other two... not so genuine.
Allegations and biased complaints from Lex Updog and added his own antithetical ideas and opinions. As a result, Nick released a bad faith, personally driven hit piece video called Super Mega is Full of Horrible People. To learn more about this topic, which I'm not going to explain in detail since it's an old drama, please check out these videos here. Nick's coverage of the situation was so deceptive and bad faith that the commentary community and even other figures outside of it questioned the validity.
Hey, you got to say that with an A, brother. You got to be a little soft about that one. Be a little more sensitive, okay?
Of Nick and his commentary. This led Nick's credibility as a commentator himself to outright crumble, as it was clear that he couldn't handle serious issues in a way that did not pander to a specific audience, or wasn't filled to the brim.
Well, even his own audience criticized him pretty heavily with the whole situation. I think that's really what led him to realize he made a big oopsie poopsie, because even his own audience was dumpstering him. So
with bias and virtue signaling. Not only was his reputation ruined, but the backlash he received resulted in a heavy hit to his channel. Due to his crumbling presence on YouTube, ultimately he had no choice but to walk back his video and apologize for the situation.
I mean, listen, it's possible. It's possible that he had to do it because he got dumpstered so hard. But that, I feel like there's a level of genuinity to him. I think that he kind of stopped making content because he burnt out after that situation and got frustrated. Obviously, the feedback, if he got positive feedback from his audience, he wouldn't have changed. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he was just shifting just for his audience. I get negative feedback sometimes too from you guys, and I go, okay, let me take it into consideration. So I guess it's just a matter of opinion whether you think that his apology and his, kind of his shift was genuine or not. I can understand if you don't think it's genuine. I personally looked at it and thought it was kind of genuine. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Not once, not twice, but more than 4 times now. While Nick received the brunt of the burn for what was a successful false cancellation of Super Mega following the drama, one person in this group of horrible people who came out of this even more terrible, even more annoying, and even more disgusting than before is Ethan is Online.
Yeah, let's not forget that after this whole Super Mega thing, he hard defended pedophiles. Not even unironically, he called out Alex Rosen, the EDP guy, which I get it. He has a less than stellar past, but he seems like he's changing a lot. He's been getting convictions on legitimate bad people, we'll say. And Ethan was so anti Alex brained that he was legitimately defending pedophiles. It was bizarre. It was actually unhinged behavior. Do I think he likes those types of people? No, I think he's so anti-conservative that he had a meltdown. So yeah, I covered that as well. I'll try to put all those in the description. I'll try to remember.
So let's start with Super Mega real quick as a point of criticism. This is something that people have brought up time and time again, but to have the gall to make a near 4-hour stream doing nothing but writing the downfall of a channel that was clearly targeted over slanted differences between personalities is
that an Asian joke?
Something so incredibly petty that it really makes you start to wonder where Ethan's priorities and attentions lie. Instead of handling the situation maturely...
And here's the thing, too, not to keep going, but I think that's the big difference between Nick is Not Green and Ethan. Is that Ethan, even though he, in my opinion, has done worse than Nick is Not Green, he's still going and his content's doing pretty decently. And it's because he has no he doesn't care, right? Like half of a cancellation, it really depends. But like I think a half, if not more of a cancellation is more about how you interact with it. Because I've had like my shares of pretty big cancellations before. And it's the way that you interact with it has a pretty significant impact, probably more of an impact on what's actually being said. How do you take it? How do you handle it mentally? What do you do afterwards? Do you change your content, or are you so frustrated that your content suffers, and et cetera, et cetera? Ethan doesn't care about any of that, so his content's not going to suffer. Like he doesn't have, I don't know. I think he has maybe a warped conscience in some capacity.
Ethan behaves in a way that makes it very clear there's a personal grudge Ethan holds against these people, and it really starts making sense why this would be the case when you start connecting the dots. In my personal opinion and observation, there is
that an Indian joke?
Probably a very loaded sense of envy and vengeful motive behind this behavior.
Yeah, when I hear Ethan, I think H3 too. I was just thinking that.
Not that I know what's going on in Ethan's mind, but this behavior comes off as a really strong, in air quotes, I'm glad my partner's ex's career is getting torn to shreds over a very saturated and bad faith claim that even I don't know the extent of truth of sort of deal.
Well, for him, I think it's just like, hey, this is fun internet content. They don't really care about the backlash. I think that they lack empathy in general.
Typically, I don't like to make these conjectures on my channel because there is no way of absolutely knowing, but the way Ethan...
Oh, I know. I'm a wizard. I'm a genius. Okay.
...responded to people after Super Mega's temporary shutdown goes to show that he had a lot of personally driven...
Yeah, now that they came back, all of a sudden Lex decided that she needs to make a new fucking allegation. She just got to work on a new allegations video. It's fucking crazy, man. It honestly is crazy as hell.
And vitriol that even he couldn't justify at its entirety, because even he couldn't make valid defenses. When he was questioned about Lex Updog and the entirety of the drama, all he did was just have an angry, emotionally fueled meltdown on Twitter where he replied to everyone and anyone on Twitter for the sake of trying to save face.
Yeah, that seems to be what he does. We call it the old Hassan defense. Just kidding.
This just made him look worse because instead of trying to justify Lex's behavior with facts and logic, all he did was just make
yeah, get him with the epic Ben Shapiro, baby.
Substantiated claims that state Super Mega covered up an essay, or that Lex's claims weren't being believed due to commentary channels miscontextualizing her story. Further onto that, he doesn't even explain how or why this is the case. He just says it with nothing to back up the argument. No additional details on why this or that person was wrong. Keep in mind that Lex's story was filled with holes and a twisted series of events. This was perpetuated by Leighton as well. When Dawn and Super Mega came out with their responses, a lot of the record was corrected, or Lex and Leighton were proven to be out.
Bro, even in her own video, she had she basically proved herself wrong, especially in those text messages. She went on about how they let her stay there for free, or excuse me, she let her stay in their house for free, but they didn't give her a hardline time to leave the house, which makes them they're the bad guys for that. And she starts going on about how she was going on work trips, which were actually vacations. And she just happened to work on her like porn while she would do that, and then she said that they wouldn't give her any of their stuff back. She's like, oh, they locked my stuff in their house and wouldn't let me get it. But then like she showed the screenshots that proved that they like were like, hey, come get it. She was dishonest the entire time. That's why I question her like story against Don, because it's like, if you're lying about everything else in the video, why would I believe you about this? I don't understand. Like, you have your credibility shot. So
outright liars who hid details or said the exact opposite of what happened. Details such as Leighton's allegations.
And there's a difference between lying about things in general versus making a video where you are lying profusely. Because then it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, everybody lies a little bit here and there. I get that. But like in the same video, she's sitting there lying about like her entire interaction with Super Mega. Why would I believe the Don story like fully in the way that you're presenting it?
That Super Mega was homophobic, or that Super Mega drove Lex to homelessness, are two notable examples of
homelessness. She just moved back to her other old state. She wasn't homeless at all.
Of bold lies these people told.
And they tried to help her, like, get her like a legitimate apartment, but she refused. She didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to put any work or effort into actually getting her shit together.
Said they did nothing but helped me, and then gaslit me about it and made me homeless.
Which this again is a lie, and she voluntarily left on her own choice.
We did not throw them
voluntarily left on her own choice, dude. Holy frick.
out. We did not make them homeless. Here is a text message where they're talking about leaving the office. Y'all have certainly gone above and
Damn, I wish they kept that show going. I wish Michael never left the office, you know what I mean?
beyond with your generosity and allowing us to crash for as long as y'all have, and we'd hate to overstay our welcome any further than we already have.
But Ethan doesn't care about about the reality of a situation. He just cares about coming out on top of a drama he's emotionally and personally invested in. He cares about his self-image so much that it wouldn't surprise me he behaved the way he did so that he wouldn't seem like a spineless cuck, which, spoiler, he is.
That's what I heard. Ryan Beard told me that that Ethan is a legitimate spineless cuck. I think that I personally, he kind of comes off as like that. He comes off as like a feminist, like a male feminist. I know that sounds weird to some of you guys, but like to me, there's no such thing as a male feminist. You know, there's guys that think women are cool, that women deserve rights, but male feminists, from what I've seen, it's like they try to take advantage of that position. Like, oh, I'm a male feminist. Like, you could trust me, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like a creep. He kind of reminds me of a creep, you know, like that kind of guy. That feels like his dating strategy. Wow, is acting like that.
Maybe not the cuck part.
But he's just like a manipulative little sussy baka, you know?
But he definitely is a spineless coward. After Nick reluctantly conceded in his overall fight with the commentary community and issued his final apologies, Lex and Ethan respectively were quick to unfriend him and start liking posts that talk negatively about Nick's coverage of the
Damn, they're fucking scumbags.
Situation and Nick as a person. We can assume that Ethan
Nickelodeon
probably had a part in getting Nick to make that video, and if he did, it just goes to show how cowardly he is for just sweeping.
I don't know if they actually had a part in that. I have no idea, but
Nick under the rug.
We saw Lex talk about talk about how she messaged him about how he was a bad guy or something. Over the coverage. It was stupid.
After Nick got torn apart. Something I noticed about Ethan after hours of listening to and watching his brain cell eviscerating content is the fact that in every single one of his videos, he comes across as a very virtuous, caring, compassionate, kind, and intelligent individual. Psych! This dude is as pretentious.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking total piece of shit.
Yeah, it's in virtue signals to the highest degree. I didn't even realize you can grift or pretend to care about things as hard as Ethan does.
That's why I just don't care. I don't care about anything. Sometimes people will criticize me. They'll be like, Papa Go, you don't seem to care about some of the videos you watch. Why do you watch it? First of all, I care as much as anybody. I do. I don't know, like, how much am I supposed to care? Like, it's my firstborn child. You know what I mean? Like, I'm interested in these topics, but like, they don't make or break my day. If we weren't watching them, I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? But I'm interested. I'm interested in the content and the commentary. But I feel like there's a lot of people who will put on a performance, like how much they care about things. Like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. It's not really that crazy. You know, it's something to talk about. It's something that can be a little stimulating, but it's also a fucking degenerate brain rot. I mean, let's be real about that as well. You know, so, you know, just care less, guys. Care less. Your life gets better.
It's called Ideological Subversion.
Oh, I remember that gay guy. He's pretty fun. He's kind of a fun gay guy. I saw him on TikTok before.
You are doing that right now.
That's why there's a bunch of purple-haired girls roaming the streets chanting, "There is only one solution, Antifada revolution."
That guy's fucking silly, man. I like him.
They do have a really good chance.
God, that was so fucking cringe. What the hell does he mean purple-haired? What? Gay men really are the weakest link. To, like, immediately turn on purple-haired girls or whatever. Like, that's very clearly, like, vice signaling homophobia.
What the fuck are you talking about? No, there's just, like, a lot of people on the left. A lot of young college students on the left have purple hair. Okay? That's it. I mean, it's not, okay. Okay.
Like the fucking I'm gay and homophobic fucking who does that?
Bro, why are you saying homophobic? I don't think he's a gay and homophobic. I think that, like, not everybody that's purple haired is even gay. What are you talking about? They're just like very lefty, annoying sometimes.
Ruben, does anyone know who that is?
This is probably one of the worst things he could
is that the guy that they made the sandwich?
Could have said, knowing the type of person he claimed he used to be. He has no self-reflection and doesn't learn from his actions. I remember in another
based alert on that one.
Instance, he literally says he used to bully a gay kid because he was just projecting and secretly gay himself.
Okay. I don't think Ethan's online is gay, to be honest with you. I think if he's saying that, it's just to try to belong as part of a community.
I ended up bullying a kid, and then we ended up being friends because I think we were both. I think he was gay, and I was queer. So.
Oh, you bullied him for?
Yes, he's not gay. I'm queer, which means listen. Not for nothing, I died. Not for nothing. I feel like a lot of times when people say they're queer, they just want to be part of like the LGBTQ community, and they just want an excuse. Well, I'm queer. What does that really manifest itself as? I mean, he's dating a woman. I don't think he's queer. He just dresses silly. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being queer. I'm just saying I don't think that he's actually queer. I think he's just saying that to fit in with the community.
For being gay when you were gay?
Yeah, you know, kids have kind of a gaydar a little bit. He was either gay or autistic. I don't know.
Not to
incredible
mention, you're literally just doing the extreme leftist tactic of
incredibly based.
Ostracizing a group for disagreeing with your political ideals. Ethan is a prime example of a leftist friendly firing for wrongthink. The amount of pretentiousness
Well, that guy is probably more conservative, the gay guy you were showing, but okay.
Here is extreme, as Ethan calls an openly gay man a homophobe for calling out generic virtue signaling Karens. Post writing note, from this point forward, let's play a game. Let's count how many times I say insinuate in this video. What Ethan is trying to
No, I'm not playing that game. Fuck you.
insinuate by this statement is not even clear either, because he does not know how to formulate his thoughts concisely, but you can still gather what he's implying. Ethan is trying to detract from this man's ideas by using his sexual identity against him.
He might be bisexual. Let's give him that. Shut up, bitch. No, I think that he's just trying to belong as part of the community. Honestly, I don't think that he gives a singular fuck. We're talking about the guy who fucking runs defense for like pedophiles. Okay, so just be clear. He's not. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Calling him a weak link to being the gay counterparts of an Uncle Tom. Of course, Ethan would never say something like this so brazenly because he'd rather virtue against absolutely opposing ideas instead of friendly firing on people that are supposed to be identity allies. Another part in this video here that really just shows how much of a pretentious virtue signaling wannabe good guy Ethan tries to be is when he misses a blatantly obvious sarcastic joke anyone else could understand.
I'm dying. I think this is killing me.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm a power gay at the Sundance Film Festival, and I'm going to find some gorgeous Jewish producer to hook me up with a TV show, because I have a genius-level IQ.
Okay, it's a little... Okay.
Guy who believes in IQ because he got really big number on it. I believe the fucking racist-ass IQ system. It's telling me I'm smart.
To me...
What? Okay.
Me and most people watching this understand this is a joke meant to poke at extremist conspiracy theorists who think they're incredibly intelligent for believing Jewish individuals are secretly in control of elite organizations.
Oh, we are, dude. It's kind of funny because apparently there's some people on Twitter that are very upset that I'm Jewish right now. There's a thread on Twitter. People are melting down because when I was watching the Synthetic Man video, Synthetic Man, he saw Michael Rappaport, a white person, and he was like, oh, he's not really white, he's Jewish. And if you guys don't know, when somebody differentiates like white Jews from white people, it's because they're incredibly anti-Semitic and hate Jews. Like, that's what it is. They can't say that part out loud because they know they'll get banned. So I called that out. Because, like, the whiteness is just like it's just a skin tone. There are Hispanic people who are white, Irish, Italian, German, French, English. Everybody's fucking white. But not the Jews, even though they're white, because he's anti-Semitic. And people are now melting down. They're very upset about that. Not a lot of people, just anti-Semitic people are very upset about that because they don't like that. That's true. They pretend it's not true, but that's exactly what it is. They feel stupid because their game is very obvious, and then they feel dumb when people call it out because then they can't just fucking cry and complain and dog whistle at people anymore. Thank you so much for the $10 from Jack Esposito. Hey, yo, Papa. I went to the Gathering of Nations, the biggest native powwow in the world last weekend. I was so happy a woman from the Navajo Nation won Miss India representing natives here at the SW. Wow. I don't know if your stories are real, man. Sometimes I feel like you have a very interesting life, man. That's fucking crazy. But God bless if that's real. It's interesting. That's crazy.
It's obvious. In fact, after watching this clip with other people, it was inferred by them that the entire clip Ethan viewed may have very well been a satirization of right-leaning people, the very thing Ethan is against. Of course, this thought doesn't occur to Ethan because he's so brain-rotted by internet lefty virtue that he doesn't even stop to consider this guy is actually on his side. Instead, Ethan decides to make this something...
No, that guy was serious about what he being like making fun of liberals. Just to be clear, I've seen his stuff before, so...
entirely about race and
I love you too.
Knocks the concept of IQ as some esoteric concept made specifically to be racist. You can only gather that by believing a conspiracy yourself about how IQ scores are used to specifically discriminate against marginalized groups.
Base, dude.
But of course, Ethan would say this as he goes on to call whoever he wants a Zionist and claim right-wingers are warmongering individuals who dream for a military-driven ethnostate. You know, the typical
also based
delusional bread-tube rhetoric meant to pin their ideas against
pretty based
opposing ideas for the sake of fear-mongering on behalf of their beliefs.
I'm fabulously funny, and I single-handedly ended global anti-Semitism.
Some of the people chanting Intifada Revolution are Jewish. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a fucking Zionist. You know what I mean? That's whose side you're on. Ask yourself, why do Christian Republicans love Israel so much? Maybe it's because it's like their ideal military state.
Because it's based, dude. It's the most progressive, best country in the Middle East. Sorry.
Segregated. Right-wingers love that shit.
But that's not the point of this video. The point of that segment right there is just to briefly highlight just how much Ethan insinuates extreme concepts while also pandering to what current-day woke Twitter children would typically consume. And I can tell he forces himself to be this way because even a somewhat intelligent person who is somewhat faking their ideologies could come up with better ways of driving home political nonsense without making vague, almost dog whistle-esque statements. Ethan, we know what you're calling out for, and we know the insinuations you're making, or at least I do. It's not slick and it's not sly. If you genuinely align with the rhetoric you're vaguely spouting, then say it with your chest and don't be a fraud. Otherwise, it's extremely easy to draw the conclusion that you're just a performative grifter, which makes your credibility seem questionable, not that you had any left. I'm not a political commentator and outright refuse to be one, so let me be.
Why, dude? It's a lot of fun. I'm just kidding. I do politics sometimes. It's kind of gay. I mean, it's kind of cringe. I love gay. I gotta stop saying that word like that. It's really just the same. It's really, there's no real political commentators. It's mostly just like political drama, honestly.
Very clear. That segment right there was specifically to point out just how vague and pretentious Ethan is with his arguments, if it wasn't clear already. Because if you actually take a second to listen to what he says, he's not even making any arguments or concise statements in regards to his beliefs. He's just saying vague statements for viewers to impose what they want to gather out of it, which is successful, as seen by the comments, which means he can be as insincere and as indirect as possible and still gather a bunch of support from his grift. He also does this quite often, even when the topic of the video he's making isn't rooted in politics. Not to mention again, for the millionth time, and sorry for repeating myself, his intense need to be pretentious and act as a holier-than-thou individual. One great example is his infamous modern art video.
I used to hate modern art. I used to think it was too simple, too easy.
Modern art is fucking weird, dude. Modern art is like, I don't really understand. It's just ridiculous. It's mostly just ridiculous dog shit that people will do. Like, they'll put like a bathtub in the middle of the floor with a leak in it, and they'll be like, oh my god, this is fucking art. This is incredible. I don't really get it. I think it's stupid. It's for dumb babies with too much time on their hands that want to pretend that there's deep meaning and everything. It's literally just people who listen to their English teacher, you know, ask about what the color of the balloon meant in their favorite story. You know what I mean?
It's not like the Mona Lisa. That's art. I thought it was less valuable than something more realistic because it didn't take as much skill. I used to think that until I actually went to an art museum and I learned about the stuff I was looking at. I learned
Wow, that's really cringe.
the contexts, the purpose, the skill behind making these pieces. And it started to make
Here's my bathtub. I'm gonna make modern art too. Just a shit stain on a bathtub that I stomped through the fucking floor. It's poop. Modern art's poop, dude. Wait a minute. Is this Nicolas Cage? Pickles Cage? Oh my god, guys, I was kidding. Modern art's amazing.
sense. And since then, I feel like I've only benefited from having more of an open-minded perspective about art.
During the start of this video,
Who told you to think that? Just wondering. Like, your girlfriend Lex, the untalented Lex, was like, I really like modern art, Ethan. We should go check this out together. And you're like, of course, honey.
Opens up with a pseudo-intellectual conversation about how he used
Of course, baby. Sounds cool, baby.
to dislike modern art, and then says he learned to appreciate it by understanding things such as the skills and content.
I mean, I would believe it if he wasn't such a dishonest piece of shit. If he was like an honest person, I'd be like, okay, that's interesting. And then I would just move on. But I don't think Ethan has an honest thought. I think everything is just dishonesty driven, to be honest with you.
Behind it, but then fails to explain how, why, or what connected in his mind or the philosophy he came to form. Of course, instead of forming up a proper thesis, whether it was taking the time to write one out or sit down and think about it hours in advance before recording this video, he just goes straight to sponsor, only to return with this bullshit.
Of course, there's a political component, right? All art is inherently political.
Of course, there is.
Oh, is it? Even like, what? Is that? I don't know if that's true. I don't think that that's true, but okay.
A political component. All art is inherently political. Well, that's outright wrong. I don't think fanfictions of Dream SMP or art commissions for oddly rich furries are necessarily political.
Yeah, well, it's trying to normalize furries, so that's the politics behind that. You ever think about that?
Terrible example, I know, but I figured the more obscure I make the first example, the more variations of art will come to mind that aren't inherently political. And I guarantee you it would work now that your mind is...
What about when my mom drew... She took home a projector and she drew Thomas the Tank Engine and she painted it on my wall when I was a kid. That's political. George Carlin was in that. Shut the fuck up, dude. Sorry, somebody text me. George Carlin was in it, and he does political comedy. So if you think about it, everything's political, guys.
Is racing to find more examples internally. And even if you want more practical, formal examples with pedigree, such as Van Gogh's Starry Night, Pablo Picasso's Self-Portraits, or The Scream by Edward Munch, these were all examples.
Yeah, that individual's a munch, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Of art that were considered ahead
I'm hip
of their time, or leads in modern art that weren't interpreted as political. They were interpreted as reflections of the mental turmoil of someone's psyche. What all of these artists have in common, aside from being ahead of their time...
What is politics? What is politics? What is political? What does that word mean? Relating to the government or the public affairs of a country. Yeah, I don't think it's all political. Okay.
and their art representing modernism in one way or another, is that they all struggled with mental illness respectively. So your statement is inherently wrong. The only reason you would push this argument as an opening is because
art critique is really just opinion, but a lot of people let right-wing propaganda cloud their judgment of modern art, whether they
Right-wing propaganda. Maybe it's just shitty looking. People really realize that and they think it's dumb. Okay.
realize it or not. All because it helps them feel better in not wanting to engage with it. In an ideal conservative world, art is interpreted for people through a YouTube video full of lying, misinformation,
Well, that's what you're literally doing.
and emotional manipulation, false comparisons, but this happens every day.
And there we have it. In an ideal
Okay.
conservative world, oh my god. So not only do you say that art is up to interpretation and can be interpreted in different ways, but you also go on to say that the way conservatives discuss and interpret it is wrong.
Well, I mean, modern art is cringe. I mean, I guess in general, he's so obsessed with conservatives. You know, I understand that some conservative views can be bad. I totally get it, especially mainstream conservative views that are very bigoted. But he's so obsessed with it, he can't stop talking about it.
Okay, and why is that?
PragerU has made at least a dozen videos fooling your old grandpa about modern art. All of them are completely nonsense and wrong.
Oh, okay, it's a PragerU video. Well, you're going to be hard pressed to. I mean, if he's making a PragerU video, PragerU is pretty bad. So,
But why is it that I hear the same boring, shallow, fragile talking points from people who should be way more in touch with culture?
Because they're out of touch with culture per your standards. And again, we're
well, I mean, PragerU is cringe. So
back to insinuations. You're insinuating that because they are conservative and full of right-wing ideologies, the way they
no, PragerU is like actual dog shit. Like PragerU's unreasonable dog shit.
interpret modern art is fundamentally incorrect, which is a load of bullshit. And the lack of credibility that this statement has is only reinforced by the fact that you're attempting to compare apples to oranges by forcing Charlie as the topic of discussion into this video.
Charlie D'Amelio? What?
And you acknowledge that these things aren't comparable, but you do it anyways because you have a grudge against the fact that Charlie somewhat holds the same ideas about modern art that a lot of conservatives have. And now you
What the fuck are you talking about? Charlie Kirk? I'm assuming it's Charlie from the Chocolate Factory. I'm just kidding. I'm assuming it's Moist Critical.
feel obligated to be this morally superior, coddling, condescending, virtuoso because you want to force your personal leftist ideas into it and pander to an audience of people equally as moronic as you.
Listen, yeah, I know his face is in the thumbnail, and yeah, this video is kind of about Charlie. But listen, it's not personal. I'm trying to compare content that realistically should have nothing in common. Fascist propaganda and gamer streamer should not be saying the same things. The difference is,
I mean, there's only so many things you could say. If sometimes people are going to repeat the same shit. You know, just because you might think that conservatives generally have bad ideas doesn't mean that every idea they have is bad. So, but okay.
PragerU's content is motivated and has an agenda. Charlie is just being a useful idiot for that agenda, with peace and love. I know it's not on purpose. Charlie doesn't watch PragerU for his art analysis content. He probably didn't even get the talking points from them, but they're still saying the same.
But they're still saying the same thing. And PragerU is so influential that it actually had an influence on Charlie through 18 different, degrees of disconnection or something.
Thing. Charlie's just an average guy with an average brain in his head. Florida average, but average. But it's uncanny how similar normal average guy language can be to politically motivated propaganda. Content that we all know is dishonest. Listen, it's nothing personal.
I don't understand why modern art's like the hill to die on. I don't understand.
It's nothing against Charlie. I've met him before. He's very nice.
You've met him before. How meaningful was that meeting?
Just don't know why he's like this.
I don't have to highlight the issue here, but I will anyways. I don't agree with your opinion because it's too similar to those of the people I disagree with. You're a victim to propaganda, so allow me to re-educate you. That's what Ethan is doing here, while attempting to come off as
based alert.
some intellectual moral superior. If you're
based alert from Ethan, am I right, guys?
so intelligent, have you considered that with or without politics, people can come to the same conclusions naturally without needing political influence at all? Have you considered that art is up to interpretation and doesn't have to have shared ideas between all people? Oh, you have actually. You spent the introduction of this video explaining all of this.
Art critique is really just opinion. The difference is PragerU's content is motivated and has an agenda. Charlie
Well, that is generally true. It is motivated and has an agenda. That doesn't mean that they're wrong about modern art. I don't know what they said about modern art. I don't care about modern art. It's so meaningless to everybody in the world. So
is just being a useful idiot for that agenda, with peace and love.
Modern art ended in 1970, really? When? Modern art time period. Oh, interesting. Modern art is a term that refers to art produced from the 1860s to the 1970s, includes the styles of philosophies of that era. It often describes art created in Europe. Oh, what am I thinking of? What is the art that I'm thinking of where people use like bathtubs and shit in them and fucking flip them upside down and then call it art? What is that considered? Like new age art? I still don't give a shit about modern art. Artists for theater nerds. Okay? I don't give a shit about art. Maybe I'll go to an art museum with my wife soon, though. That'll be a fun date.
not on purpose.
Van Gogh is modern art? Oh, interesting. I don't know. It doesn't seem very modern to me, dude. I'm fucking, you know, it's 2024, guys. When was Van Gogh alive, huh? The 1400s? I really don't know. I guess in the 1900s.
Charlie doesn't watch PragerU for his art analysis content. He probably didn't even get the talking points from them, but they're still saying the same thing. Charlie's just an average guy with an average brain in his head. Florida.
I feel like this guy doesn't give a shit about modern art at all, but okay.
Average, but average.
Then
oh, contemporary art or conceptual art? I don't know, dude. Get out of here with this cringe art shit.
why do you feel the need to superimpose your beliefs onto his?
Get out of here with this cringe stuff, dude.
In an attempt to correct his. It's because, again, you're attempting to be a virtue-signaling, pretentious moron that forces politics into anything because you think it's the intellectual thing to do. Newsflash, moron.
Well, I mean, obviously, PragerU is inserting politics into this topic if they're talking about it.
If you're this easy to read and comprehend, you're probably an idiot. This entire video, hell, even the introduction in the video alone just shows how obsessed Ethan is with wrongthink and correcting people on it. Which leads me to my next point. Ethan forces himself in situations and topics like these all the time to paint himself as an intellectually, creatively, and morally superior person. In fact, something that includes everything I just discussed is incredibly present in this smear video. This video is filled with nothing but extremely unnecessary insinuations, implications, and vague political rhetoric for the sake of making a pseudo-empathetic critique against Alex Rosen. And to clarify what I
Right, yeah, that's the video where, again, he like goes, he criticizes Alex Rosen so much that he ends up defending pedophiles. Like, again, if you want to look at Alex Rosen and be like, I don't like his politics, they're a little bit extreme, because I actually watched the entire conversation he had with Michael Knowles, and it was a little bizarre in some instances. That's fine, but like what he's doing is actually very beneficial and helpful, and it seems like Alex Rosen is an honest person. And I specifically because he was asked a question by Michael Knowles, and he was like, you know, who does this stuff the most? And he was looking for the answer of like Democrats, but Alex Rosen's like, actually, it seems to be mostly conservatives in our experience that have been fucking pedophiles. And that doesn't mean that conservatives are pedophiles. I'm just saying, like, he could have lied about them, be like, yeah, it's always the Democrat, you know. And so I consider him, he seems to be relatively honest. He's just a bit, well, edgy for his humor, but then also a little politically sussy. But it is what it is, man. Like, he's doing a good job. He's gotten a bunch of convictions of like disgusting individuals, so. You know?
I mean by pseudo-empathetic critique, I mean that he's sort of signaling that he feels bad for the pedophiles. Anyways, the introduction is fair play in this video. He genuinely makes some good points in regards to one of the very first viral moments of Alex Rosen where he completely fumbled his sting on EDP.
He like misrepresents that pretty hard. I remember specifically, because I covered his video on that.
I'll give credit where credit is due, which is immediately detracted right after the fact as he goes on a tangent insinuating that Alex Rosen himself is a predator. He does this by taking clips out of context, making the implication that Alex Rosen is a PDF. You know what? A Ethan file, without ever having the balls to outright
got him.
Say it. Also, Ethan, once again, can literally not go more than a few minutes, 5 minutes to be fair, without making it a political issue and inserting his virtue signaling.
Yeah, he's open.
Thank you so much, Coyote, for the 2-month medium gut. People often dislike dadaism. Oh, is that an art? Which was the start in response to Europe after World War I, which can be used in postmodern art and contemporary art. All right, man, that's interesting. But you sound like a little bit of an art buff, so that's interesting stuff.
Admitted before that he just uses actual minors as bait. Doesn't really make sense to me. I thought.
Yeah, he used like some pictures of his like fucking cousin or something. Definitely inappropriate.
You're supposed to be protecting the children, not sacrificing them.
And then also, like, I think the biggest mistake he made was when he was like 19 and he used a 17-year-old's pictures or something. Again, it's a lot of the criticism is blown out of control. Proportionate, he doesn't do that anymore.
Again, remember, this is all for nothing.
And then it's funny because later on in this video, Ethan, he was criticizing Alex for using minors as what do they call them, decoys. But then later was like, oh, you can't actually arrest these guys because you're not really using minors as decoys. So it's like, okay, so you really are just trying to do whatever you can to run defense for this guy. Incredible.
This is also, they just get content out of actual pedophiles.
Good. Who cares? Get rid of them. Get him arrested.
So, of course, because the predator, hunter, anti-pedophile dog whistles are extremely right-wing in nature, he was also on Tim Pool's show, where I think a pedophile hunter should be.
I just decided to go throw up a fake profile of a 15-year-old boy and just see what happens.
This guy keeps getting interviewed, even though he's directly put minors in harm's way before, on purpose.
Well, he didn't put any minors in harm's way, just to be clear. I think he's used pictures before. Inappropriate, but he didn't put anybody in harm's way, so.
He was recently interviewed by Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire. Michael Knowles is like a D-tier Daily Wire guy, so I never really talk about him. He's really, like, really stupid. He's like the Waluigi to Ben Shapiro's Mario.
So because the anti-pedophile dog whistles are right-wing in nature, Ethan, honestly...
They can be. For sure. A lot of times it's them calling, like, LGBTQ people pedophiles, which they aren't. But, yeah. I mean, maybe if a progressive channel would have Alex on their show... Maybe you can make some headway with that. But they don't do that.
How the fuck do you come to this conclusion? You can't even provide an explanation why this is the case. If you're making claims like these, at least have the capacity to elaborate on them and make the idea whole instead of dog whistling yourself and banking on Twitter leftists to fill in the blank for you. Instead, you just go on to once again,
bro, Alex was ready to fucking shit on this kid too, and he didn't show up to the conversation. It was funny.
Make insinuations and talk mess about Tim Pool and other individuals you disagree with. Have some integrity. Really, you have the audacity to call this guy stupid, but can't even hold real talking points or arguments yourself. It's impossible to take you seriously.
On the scale of these guys don't consider anything in the metaphysical realm to these are interdimensional demons worshiping Satan, where do your marks fall?
You see why I can't fucking take Michael Knoll seriously. Immediately, he's like, where do you think on the scale of like interdimensional demons do you think these random Facebook pedophiles you're catching in your fucking rural Texas town? Do you think that could be alien demons?
Ethan, you see,
well, he goes all around the country, from my understanding. So
seriously need to have some self-reflection and awareness because you literally do the exact same thing. In fact, you do it worse. Once again, you just insinuate and imply things. You never explain where you get any of your conclusions from or why they make sense. At this point, who are you to say anything about anyone or their style of conversing?
This guy is a high school graduate with a YouTube channel.
Do you
that's a good insult, man.
ever go to the movies or something? Do you ever have a day off?
Well, I don't take off days. I love to work. So luckily, I think catching predators is the funnest thing somebody can do. So it really works out well for me.
So, he's so brain broken. He doesn't take off days. He just sits inside on the internet, probably scrolling Twitter all day long, talking to fucking pedophiles on Facebook.
Yeah, and he gets him convicted, man. What a bad guy, you know? Can't be mentally easy work to do because that would disgust me. I mean, that's just too much for me. So good thing that there are people out there like Alex that want to do stuff like that, because I just don't have it in me to do that kind of shit. That would be too distressing to me. I'd have like secondhand trauma from constantly talking to goddamn pedophiles that are trying to molest kids. That would fuck me up.
Pretending to be a minor every day. Unwell. He said it's the funnest thing I can think of.
Something that really ticked me off in watching this video is how Ethan has the audacity to insult Alex Rosen for sitting inside all day catching predators, and then insults his intelligence. Ethan, again, self-reflection. You make zero intelligent statements. Your reaction and dissection of this is piss poor.
Well, I mean, like there's different types of YouTubers. Ethan and myself included, we don't do anything of value. We just sit here and talk about dumb shit all the time. Alex is at least doing something. Who cares if he's getting paid for it, as long as he's doing it the right way? And it seems like he's getting better and better at doing his job, getting people caught. So that sounds like he's doing it the right way.
You sit inside and smoke weed all day, pandering to an audience that will rip you apart the moment Lex comes out against you. You literally
actually very true.
Provide
that'll be so funny though if that happens.
Absolutely nothing but false and negative interpretations of people that are at least doing something to protect a few communities. You sit on Twitter every day, you sit on YouTube every day, and pretend to be an intelligent, virtuous individual. You are significantly worse.
Dude, he watches so much fucking like propaganda and like interrogation on YouTube where he's trying to establish rapport with this old man in his recliner.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. And he did. And he got that guy arrested. So I remember this specifically. Ethan was giving him shit because Alex was inside interviewing this pedophile. And he was being nice to him. Alex was like, oh, how does, he was being nice to him. He was talking to him like a person, which you need to do. And what he got out of that was, first of all, this guy doesn't legally have to let him in his house, but he did. So he was able to sit down. He got him to explicitly admit that he sent the text messages, the disgusting text messages. So that means that they take that to court, and he's done. There's no way for him to talk out of that one. So it worked. He's engaging in a strategy that protects kids. Dude, what a hot take. Like, wow.
At least try to be nuanced, Ethan. What Alex Rosen is doing is not only a tactic that has proven to be functional to get people to admit their wrongdoings, but there are several psychological studies that support the idea that behavioral affirmation and things such as confirmation bias lead people to say things out of pure comfort.
Does he think this is an interrogation?
Well, yes, he literally wants him to admit his actions.
You take me first.
I do think that because this guy keeps repetitively engaging these people, clearly, you can't arrest him for that. Because he wasn't talking to a little girl. He was talking to a guy pretending to be a little girl.
See, he criticizes him for using actual minors as decoys, and now he's criticizing him for not using actual minors for decoys. And it's like, okay, so like, where are we at here? Which one is what? Like, what's your point? You know what I mean? Like, you can't, you can't do both. You can't have it both ways. And he did. And by the way, I'm pretty sure he got that guy like legitimately arrested. Just to be clear, that guy's like fucked. So
well, it's not illegal, unfortunately.
It is illegal. So good job.
It's not illegal, unfortunately. Yes, it is. You could have figured this out by doing one Google search. Texas Penal Code states that someone can be charged for talking to a person that presents themselves to be younger than 17. That could be literally anyone, including Alex Rosen. And to be clear, he is from Texas. This is also the case if the solicitor believes a decoy is in fact a minor, which is why a confession is incredibly important. It's illegal in most...
legit question. Do you think Ethan is trying to call out predator hunters because he's afraid of possibility of his ulterior motives coming out? I mean, maybe. I don't know if I believe that. It's always possible. I think Ethan's calling the guy out because he hates conservatives, and that's it. There's really nothing going on in his brain other than, like, I don't like conservatives. And there are people, and I would say that Alex was one of those people when it came to EDP who prioritize, like, the hunting at the predator hunting for content before catching the predator, right? I think it's fine to make content out of it as long as you're operating in a way that gets the person caught. Originally, Ethan, like, when it came to EDP, he was not operating in that capacity. And he's obviously changed significantly. So there are people who will basically they'll do like performative catches just to bully people that are predators, and I don't care about them getting bullied, but it doesn't create an effective metric of getting them in jail, which is the goal. And now it seems like Alex's primary goal is to get them in jail, and he records it, which I think is perfectly fine. Like, I don't care. He's getting people in jail. So
most states, especially if intent is proven, usually from a request to meet in person.
But for people to think that Ethan might be some kind of a predator, it's understandable because of how much defense he ran in that video. Like, he criticized Alex at one point because he's like, "Oh, why don't you get them a therapist?" It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? Why would he get them a therapist? He's a person. Them going to jail would potentially get them the therapist that they might need if you believe they need a therapist. Why the fuck is it Ethan's responsibility? Like, he's putting more responsibility on Ethan than on Alex. I'm sorry, I'm messing up names. He's putting more responsibility on Alex than he is on the pedophile. Like, what the fuck?
As well.
We were posing as a fake pedophile online, and he either messaged me or
Bro! Posing as a fake pedophile online. Of course. I downloaded it just as a fake. I downloaded it so no one else can have it.
This part right here really...
Yeah, so anyway, he did that so that he could get the guy to pretend to, like, sell him pictures or try to buy pictures from him so he had more evidence to go to court with, and it worked again. Again, it worked out, so...
Being grinded my gears. You do realize people can just say anything on the internet, right? You can't possibly be ignorant to this. It's disgusting that you're implying that Alex is a pedophiile himself or that he's in possession of CSAM. People are edgy and...
CSAM? What the hell's that?
Say things that are deceptive all the time, whether it's a joke or to be annoying edgelords. You do the same thing, especially when it comes to how you handle the super mega situation. As a matter of fact, this entire video is filled with Ethan just making claims such as this. Literally every other minute, he's implying that Alex Rosen is a pedophile.
You can't make these kinds of jokes and look like this. He doesn't want to be a cop anymore. He's having way too much fun, pretending to be a little boy all day. It's important to remember that he literally said that he only started using Grindr because he had pictures of his little brother that he posted on there. Come on my
Yeah, not nude pictures, just to be clear.
show. Wow, you posted child porn of your brother?
No, that's not what he said. He posted, like, his face to get people, to try to set people up. Is it appropriate? No, but it's not fucking... He wasn't fucking posting child porn. You're ridiculous.
have a 9-year-old daughter.
And be a pedophile too, because you look like a pedophile. And be a pedophile too, because you look like a pedophile.
I guess I'm just trying to...
Dude, these guys never talk about fucking anything.
These guys don't ever talk about fucking anything. You don't either.
Michael Knowles is a fucking idiot.
And you are too. Last thing since I'm dragging this on. Ethan,
I got caught up in this fucking hard rock here.
as I said, is an individual so full with envy in his heart, he's so delusional and needs to feel superior to others so desperately that he just has to deprecate anything.
He's so gay. Sorry.
And everything through
Child inappropriate material. Is that what it is? Like child sexual something material? Okay.
virtue signaling and moral superiority. He does just that by the end of this video, calling Alex Rosen's arrests, convictions, and stings useless because he's accomplishing nothing.
At this point, we have an arrest in 44 different states.
An arrest in 44 different states. So one per state out of 600 stings?
Yeah, he's got more than me. Good for him.
Convictions in 30.
But that's a really nice way to not say how many.
So how many...
Well, convictions mean that, like, arrest is just an arrest. A conviction means that, like, they did it, right? So, sounds pretty good, man.
What have you done?
Oh my gosh. I think close to 600 over the years.
God damn, dude, he basically does nothing. He's lucked out every time he's really caught someone and actually gotten them convicted.
Or he's just getting better at it, and he's learning how to operate more correctly with the laws. Okay.
Such a grifter.
Alex Rosen has gotten a few successful arrests and investigations towards some very dangerous people. He's gotten a few people jailed and sentenced. He's made other people aware of some very disgusting individuals. Clout chasing or not, that is very valuable to our society. It helps communities where one pedophile can destroy the innocence of potentially dozens or hundreds of children. Yet Ethan has the audacity to say,
and also potentially create more, predators themselves, because some of these individuals that are molested end up becoming molesters themselves.
that Alex Rosen does nothing. Ethan, you do nothing. You make garbage videos with literally no substance. You smoke weed all day like an addict. You can't put down the pen for 1 second and make bad faith takes about everyone and anyone. You accomplish literally nothing.
Such a grifter.
Such a grifter. Ethan, you're literally the worst grifter I've seen, right behind Sneeko or Hassan.
Ooh, got him. I think he's worse than Hassan, honestly.
Actually, at least Hassan donates to charities and the causes he believes in. I think all your money is wasted in recreational drugs, toys, and maid dresses.
Yeah, at least Hassan gets all the pedophiles off the streets because they watch his content. I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around. I'm just fucking joking.
After Ethan made this quote-unquote hit piece against Alex, he took to Twitter where he was rightfully called out and had a heated argument with Alex Rosen himself where he doubles down on his takes and gets absolutely Twitter rolled. Twitter does what it does best, and Ethan got flamed, and long story short, Ethan made these pathetic self-victimizing tweets. Really cute to keep making videos harassing a victim of multiple CSA for calling out the unethical and suspicious practice.
Somebody molested Ethan? Ew. Why? I don't understand. I'm just kidding. That's terrible. Maybe he was, but I honestly don't believe that he was, because of the way that he talks about like that shit when it comes to Alex. Sorry, but like if you're running hard defense for fucking pedophiles, I kind of I doubt, regardless of the intention, why I kind of doubt that you were ever molested as a kid. So,
pictures of a YouTuber wannabe cop. Seriously, fuck all of you. You're defending an actual predator, but you don't care because you want the content. You're sick. Well, Ethan, you probably shouldn't be calling another person a predator without evidence or substantial proof. If I saw some overpaid hog YouTuber sitting for tea with a man that groomed and assaulted me, I'd be sick to my stomach. Fuck you all for inserting yourself into something you don't understand. Well, have you considered the fact that maybe a victim would be—
What? Overpaid hog YouTuber with the man that you groomed and assaulted me? Who fucking groomed and assaulted him? What the hell is he talking about? Oh, okay. I see what he's saying now.
Be potentially happy that the person who is grooming them is actually getting sent to fucking prison or called out on their disgusting behavior. Maybe you're the one who doesn't understand. I don't give a shit about your NPC talking points. You don't know what this kind of trauma is like, and you don't give a shit about children or victims.
I don't think he does either, honestly. I think I'm just gonna be real. I don't really care.
I'm humiliated I have to even talk about this, but getting called a pedophile for months on end has been crippling on my mental health. Fuck you all. I hope you get exactly what you deserve. Ethan, you can't make these tweets calling someone a predator outright and then expect to not get the same shit served right back to you. Not to mention, you made an entire video where you called and insinuated that he was a predator for like 20 minutes. You reap what you sow.
Yeah, you can only get 19 minutes to do that, okay? Just kidding.
And it looks like you can't handle what you rightfully have to reap. You started this, and now you want people to empathize with you? As a matter of fact, your credibility is so negative that who's to say you're not making the rest of this up for pity? Have a backbone, dude. Grow up, own up to your horrible
That's what I believe.
Behavior. Ethan is someone who is genuinely an unreliable person on this platform. Throughout the course of this video, I made it a priority to highlight just how disingenuous and hollow he is as a creator. He never makes arguments or strong talking points. He lies about people and insinuates the worst on their character. He never truly knows what he's talking about. He just makes vague implications.
And he called my mom ugly one time, so I cried.
And hopes that his audience assumes whatever point he's attempting to make. He constantly virtue signals and attempts to be better than everyone else despite being a talentless loser with no skills. And on top of that, he's an insufferable weed addict who inserts politics into everything for the sake of leftist key-jingling pandering. Literally every video, he has to insert leftism or how the right wing is bad in the first 2 to 5 minutes without fail. I have no—
Yeah, I mean, that's his content. It's just how much he hates conservatives. It's like obsessive at this point, it's fucking obsessive.
Sympathy for him, and I can't respect his craft. Ethan, you hide behind a shield of insinuation. You don't have the bravado or spine to actually speak what's on your mind unless it's through a digital text-based platform, because there's no way in hell you confront anyone with more than half a brain on call or through indirect videos. There's no way you'd even say what you intend to say 100% through because you're too afraid to get called out on your word. You make terrible content that is carried by a leftist audience that can't see through your facade.
Ethan is terminally online. That's funny.
You're a miserable individual who absolutely needs to be better than everyone around him, or else he starts becoming an agitated mess. Respectfully, disrespectfully actually, clean your act up, apologize to your friend, to the people you unfairly slandered, and focus on making projects that are actually interesting. That's all I got. Take care.
All right. Yeah, pretty good video, man. Pretty fun stuff.